Hello everyone, and thanks very much for joining me. I'm Dean the Vaping Biker, and today we've got a couple of exciting things happened. First of all, we've got a tank to review, and I don't often do tanks unless I really like them. And second of all, we're recording the sound in a different way, so hopefully that comes across really well. Fingers crossed. Anyway, what we're looking at today, back on the, let me have a look now, on the 24th of October, I was having a look at this little puppy, this CP tank from Advken came to me for the purposes of review. So I opened it on the vlog, and I was a bit shocked about the tank, and it looked quite cool and bits and bobs were going on. So since then I have been using it, and I've got to say it's a bit of a beast. I do quite like it. Now there is going to be a point of contention with this one, I imagine, purely because this one came to me, as I said, back on the 24th of October. So I was asked a week or two prior to that if I wanted to review it. However, over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I think, I've been asked if I wanted to review the Coil Art Mage GTA, which looks scarily similar to this one. Now, I have no idea which one actually came out first. All I can go on is which one I received first and was aware of first. And even on the Coil Art website, they're saying that the Mage GTA is a brand new product. So who knows? But yeah, this is the one that I'm going with because this is the first one I got, and I really do rather like it. Anyway, before I bore you anymore, let's go up close and have a little look on this puppy. Come on then. Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, so here we are up close with the CP. It is a bit of a funny old name, but there we go. It's the CP RTA. Nothing overly special going on with the box there, but we do have the scratch and sniff at the bottom end there. 24mm, as you can see here, so we can have a little play. Now then, inside the box you get a little card there, share your favourite pics with us, all about that sort of good stuff. And in here you do get a bunch of little extras and a really nice looking Clapton coil going on there. It looks like it's a fused Clapton of some kind, but it looks lovely. It's actually one of the better ones that I've seen. In here as well we have got a spare couple of springs and a couple of post screws, as well as a few O-rings there to be having a play with. But this is the RTA itself, and I think it looks very pretty indeed. Now they did give me the other one, the Campione, to review as well. Now this isn't going to be inclusive in this review today because I'm going to have a little play. I've not actually built it, to be honest with you. I haven't had time. It's sort of, I think it's its uglier big brother, to be honest with you. I much prefer the look of the CP, although the Campione does work in exactly the same way, albeit the barrel being a little bit longer, but I'll explain to you what that means in a second. So this is what we're going to be worrying about today, and hopefully we can have a good old tour from it. So what we've got at the top is a non-adjustable drip tip. It is what it is. That's what you're stuck with, which is a little bit of a shame, but it's still, you know, it's one of the nicer kind of ones that you're stuck with. This kind of ball shape has actually been quite comfortable in the old lippy poos. Hello Dizzy in the background. Right, so yeah, that's quite nice. Now underneath there, nothing really to get excited about. What surprised me is there was no kind of rubbery seal going on there, but it turns out that it hasn't needed to have one because there is a seal going around the inside of that section just in there, in the sort of top chamber. Two pretty decent sized kidney shaped fill holes. I've had no issue with those, which has been rather nice. Now if we have a little look underneath here, just screw this on while we're looking at the whole thing. The threading and everything has been rather splendid as well. I've not had any issues with any of that. We can see the CP on the barrel, but we'll come to that in a second. On the outside of it, we do have CP from Advken underneath, and we do have these air holes going on here. Now, once again, a little bit of a bugbear of mine of recent times has been the lack of stoppers, because the airflow control rings tend to be quite large. You can carry on sort of turning this and turning it, and so if your tank is a little bit on the snug side, you're kind of holding on to it and it's a little bit awkward to undo. Having a stopper on an airflow control so it can only go there or full open, that I think is absolutely worth doing if people can do it. So I know some tanks come with it, but that's a personal sort of little bugbear of mine. But yeah, so let's take this. Why am I taking the drip tip off again, Dean? Why am I doing that? Let's take the tank apart. Now then, we've got manual focus going on today. It's very, very exciting indeed. So here we are with the tank. Obviously, we've got an O-ring going on there with the barrel. And we've also got the outer barrel going on here, which I don't know if it's removable or not, but I haven't been able to unscrew it. It looks like it could be, but to be honest with you, I've had no requirement to take it off. So I mean, you can see the sort of separation down there, but I've had no requirement to take it off, so I've not bothered. And also I will break it, so you know, there you go. I've had no issues cleaning it and all that sort of stuff. Now then, if we look at the deck, now then, let's have a look at this this old manual focus malarkey going on here. Hold you on. I want you to be able to see this in glorious, glorious focus. Technicolor? Kind of focus, isn't it? Is it? Right, so yeah, here's the deck. Now what we've got here is obviously a kind of a floating deck, so once it's all together, that deck actually sits above everything else. So it's a little bit of a funky one. Now obviously the concern that I had with this is if you don't get enough wick in here, then the juice is just going to come down and then flood everything. But having said that, I've not actually had a problem. Now whether I've just been super lucky with wicking or it is absolutely simple to wick, who knows, but I've not had any issues with it in the slightest. Nice big thick wick hole there. This is designed for a single coil. So much like a few of the atomizers that are coming out now, they're sort of single coil friendly. You could, I guess, get a dual coil in there if you really kind of squeezed one in, but I'm not entirely sure what the benefit of that would be, to be honest with you. Now then, these posts are brilliantly sprung loaded again. We've seen this again recently, and it's something that I'm super happy with. I really like a spring loaded jobby there. And also what we've got here is, if you see, if you just, those little bits, those little tags that come up, it helps centralize this sort of top clamp when you tighten it down, which works really, really well in my opinion. Now then, with regards to coil sizes you can get in here, you can get some big monkeys in here if you really, really want to. One of the things that I have been running, and let me show you what I've got in here. This is one of my last coils I've got from the wonderful Mortal Coil over in Australia, and this was you can have a little read there and see what it's all about. But it's all terribly exciting. But it's a big bastard, it really is. And this is exactly what I've been running up until now. Can't get this one out. Can't open the bag. I'm having one of those days. Come on. Hey, in fact, you know what I'll do? Let's use these. I just really do want to show you how something even this massive fits in here. Now obviously what I've had to do with this big bad boy is straighten out one of the legs, so they're both coming out along the same plane. But essentially what's happened, once that's gone in, or once I've straightened the legs out rather, that's gone in there and it's perfect. Look, the way that sort of overhangs where the air holes are, sorry, not the air holes, the wicking holes, that's absolutely spot on, and so I've been loving using that setup. However, I have just made a coil for this today, so we'll stick that one in just for shits and giggles, and I'll show you how I build it. But otherwise, it's really, really simple. Your coil goes in, you tighten everything up, the wick comes down. Obviously, you can kind of not have the wick go all the way down to the bottom if you want to, but unlike some of the RDTAs we've seen of late, obviously there is nothing that stops the juice kind of going back up top when you tilt it towards you. So I would always say that your wick should always sort of come to reach the bottom of that right there. Anyway, let's get a little build in here, shall we? What I'm going to be using today is a little dual core clapton that I've made up. Seems to have cotton everywhere. Little dual core clapton that I made up. It's got two 26 gauge internal and one 35/36 gauge Kanthal on the outside, so N80 on the inside, no, stainless steel on the inside on this one, and Kanthal on the outside. So anyway, let's get this installed. Okay, so there we go. That's that installed in there. Nice and easy job to do. Pretty quick, really. And now the ID that I used when I made this was actually 3.5 mil. So you can see that you've got plenty of space there. I've stuck it in. I've then sort of pushed it down a little bit as well, just to get it a little bit closer to that air hole. Obviously, if you do have a wide sort of coil in here, then it's going to sort of go part with kind of restricting that airflow a little bit as it comes up through the barrel there, but all in all, I've been pretty happy with this sort of size coil going in. But otherwise, it's nice. It's a pretty damn chunky coil for a single coiler. 0.35 on the old ohm reader, firing up nicely. Now let's get some wick in there. Now then, because I have used 3.5 ID on the coil there, the amount of wick that I've got up top in here is quite substantial. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim off a little bit of that, just because we don't want to go too bonkers with it. But there we go. So I've just done a little bit of that. Right, let's crack on. Okay, so that is pretty much wicked now. Now what I've done is basically all I did was just stick a load of juice over the cotton that was sticking out there, and then once that was getting a little bit juiced up, I was able to then manipulate that down into those wick holes that we saw earlier on. And I'm using just a little screwdriver, not to push it in so it's too tight, but just to try and get it in the right spot where I need it to be. Once that's in there, and I've made sure that we're not kind of interrupting any of the threads there, what we can then do is get the barrel on. Drip tip goes back on again. And there you go. That is how we're building the old CP tank from Advken. Right, let's go up top and we can have a little vape on it and see what it's like. Right, so that was the up close with the CP tank. Now I'm rocking it on top of the Chieftain by Wotofo. That review is coming out very, very shortly as well. You saw what I put in here as far as coil wise. I'm rocking it at 44.4 watts at the moment, and I've got this Rapture Satisfaction e-liquid going on in here at the moment. But let's have a little vape, shall we? Now then, it does have a restricted airflow. It's not a wide open tank, not by any stretch. However, I mean, I think that chimney on the inside, I think that's about 4.5 mil, something like that. So it's still a respectable lung hit, but it's just not the biggest, if that makes sense. Now, I've really been enjoying this as a little flavour RTA. Sure, it's 24 mil wide, so you've got a reasonable amount. Do you know what? I don't even know how much it holds. Oh my word, how horrific am I? I'll be looking at this while I'm talking to you. Any country, Dean, any country. Advken, there we go. 3.2 capacity, 3.2 mil capacity. So it holds a reasonable amount, which is great when you're running a single coil as well. It's nice and easy to fill up, and I think it does look quite swish. I think it looks quite simple and quite a funky little thing. And what I also like is this drip tip matches the sort of the size hole that comes up underneath the deck. So it kind of is a nice smooth fluid airflow with it, and I really like it. Not got any sort of real issues with the drip tip getting hot. I've not had any issues with it leaking. I've not had any issues with it kind of oversaturating or even dry hits. The way I wicked it in the up close is the way I've been doing it the whole way along, and that just seems to work really, really well. You can see that once you have got a bunch of juice in, a bunch of wick and juice in there, the wick doesn't really interrupt too much in the grand scheme of things. But look at it. Doesn't it look cute? I think it does. So there. Now, I really do like the flavour you get from this. I like the style of vape that you get from this. It's a good, solid tank, in my opinion. I really do like the posts. I love the fact that they're sprung. It makes things really, really easy for getting that single coil in there. And all in all, I think it's a cracking little tank. Now, price-wise, do you know what? I have no idea how much they're going for, because for some reason they don't appear to be in the shops, even though they've been around for a little while and they're on the Advken website, which I'll link to down below. They, I don't think they're in the, this shop at the moment. Excuse me. Which is a bit of a shocker. It really is a bit of a shocker. There's a couple of websites over in China that have them by the looks of it. But as for anybody else, I don't really know if they're. I'm not going to tell you shops if I don't know that they're sort of legit selling straight up gear. However, I mean, this is not going to be an excessively expensive tank, not by any stretch, not by Advken. Advken were the people that came out with the top hat RTA. I don't know if you remember that, ages ago, and they've come out with a couple of decent little products, I must admit. So it's nice to see them come up with another one right now. But no, I mean, I'm gonna link it to the Advken website just so you can go and check it out. But no, all in all, ladies and gentlemen, there's not a massive amount more I can tell you really. The one thing I didn't look at was the 510 pin. Now that is that does sort of extend out of the base of the unit there, which I think is quite nice. One of the little things that I think is quite nice about it as well, I don't know if we're going to be able to see that, is that 510 is actually curved a little bit. So if you've got one of these how's your father's mods with a 510 with quite a kind of a fat 510 pin, or even a little skinny little 510 pin, this does tend to make a really good little contact. So all in all, I think that's about it. Why is that not doing anything? There we go. Nice, flavourful, dense stuff. Oh, what about mouth to lung, Dean? Kinda. I've got this open now. It's probably about a 2mm hole aside. Yeah, you're not going to get a super tight mouth to lung, but you are going to get too restricted for a lung hit, if that makes sense. So if that sort of thing's your bag, then away you go. Now, obviously, you can put your smaller coils in there than the big beasts that I've been putting in. But for me personally, Claptons do give a really good flavour, and so that's why I've kind of stuck with them. But you can single wire build in here quite easily, and you could put two sort of short wrap coils, round wires, side by side if you really wanted to. Although, to be honest, I don't really think you have much of a requirement to do that. Like I said, I mean, this is at 44.4, and it's a nice warm vape. It really, really is. On a particularly long draw, you can get a little bit of heat come around the stainless part of the top cap. So if you're already kind of squishing it up against your chops there, then you'll feel it. But just for normal everyday drags, not an issue. So that's about it. Thank you very much for watching. I've really been enjoying this tank. I really like it. So there you go. Who'd have thought? A tank that I actually really enjoy using. So yeah, and as I say, if you see these in shops, then I imagine they're going to be cheap as chips, to be honest with you. Certainly under the $40 mark, I would imagine. But no, all in all, it's a great little tank. Thanks very much for watching. I've been Dean the Vaping Biker. This has been the CP Charlie Papa from Advken. I'll put the link to the Advken website down below, but I will see you on the next review. Have it very, very large. Yeah.